Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important example related to reactive form, where we will see how to use form control with default value. If you remember, in our previous session, we utilized the form control but in a very simple way, right? In earlier session, like we created one form that can hold that can accept the input values, and we were able to show the output on the browser, right? But this session is in the continuation of the same, where mainly we will be discussing how to use form control with some default values, because in some situations you will find that we are supposed to create a form that can come up with some default value. So this process we will be discussing here. Okay, but before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to create reactive form with default form control value. Okay. Alright, and for the structured content, you can also refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find more than 3000 plus free resources, which is available in both Hindi as well as English language. So as per your convenience, you can consume the content. Okay. Alright. So here you can see we are in app.component.html file, where we have multiple headings. One is Angular course by Sharmit, and second one is reactive form in Angular form control with default value. Okay. Now after these two headings, we will add two horizontal rows here. Okay, horizontal rows here, and these horizontal rows will help us to separate the headings with the actual form. Now here I'll create the form, and in this form we will continue with the same example. Like I will create two input field, one is for username and another one is for password. Okay, but this time username should come up with some default username, or maybe we can also add for password, like password and username should come with some default values. Okay, now to achieve this thing, we are going to use reactive form. So for that, let's go to app.component.html file. Here we will import the mandatory module, that is reactive form module. Okay, because this is mandatory. So here you can simply write reactive forms module added. Okay, once reactive form module is added, now you are good to use the second very important thing, that is form control. So we are sure that we will be using two input field. One is for username and another one is for password. So accordingly we will define variable here. So I will firstly write here username and new form control. Okay, and see, like when I write this and press enter, it automatically imported this thing here, which is mandatory. If it is not there, it won't work for you. Okay, so this is the normal user name variable, which we earlier also seen last example, right? Likewise, we will add the password. So I will write it as password new form control. Okay, and that's it. So we have username, we have password. Now the second important thing, like once these two variables are defined, now you are good to go and define your fields with some parameter. So let's go to app.component.ts file. Here I will firstly add my label. So you can see label is added. Here I will write username. Okay, likewise we will add input field here, input. Okay, and in input field, firstly I will define the type as text, and we will assign the form module here, form control. So this will help us to allow to assign the value, that is username. So this is the variable which we have declared. Okay, I think we missed L. Yes, now it is perfect. And remember, this is case sensitive. So if something is written with small case, you have to write it in the exact same way, otherwise it won't work. Okay, fine. So we have got this label as well as this input field. Now the next thing is we will define it for the second term, that is password. So let's add the label. Here I will write password, and we will add input field. So input, where we will mention type as password with form control. Okay, and here I will assign password. That's it. So we have one label with one input field, another label with another input field. So let's run the application. ng serve -- open, enter. Just wait for a few seconds and then it will show you the output in the browser screen, where we have one main heading, Angular codes by TextureMath, and secondary heading, reactive form in Angular, form control with default value. Then we have one horizontal row, first label, that is username with input field username, second label with password with input field password, and then we have horizontal row that is actually helping us to separate out these heading with the actual form. But now some of you might be thinking, like the same thing we did in earlier example also, then why we are learning this topic? Because we haven't added the input default value yet. I just want to show you like how it is actually working. Now we will add the default value. So at the time of page load, I want to show some username and password as a default value. And for that, what you will do, you will go to app.component.ts file. Here you will write the default value. So just simply write some single quotes and write the value, let's say ABC. Save it and refresh it. So you will see now after a reload, you will see that it comes with a username as ABC. In the similar way, if you want to set the default password as well, you can define it. So you will see username and password is coming as default. But how we will verify whether we are getting this values in or not? So for that, let's go to app.component.html. To verify this, we will simply add one paragraph. In paragraph, we will write data provided by user. Here I will write br tag. Then we will write here username. In username, we will write double curly braces username dot value. Always make sure to add dot value, otherwise it will show object. Okay. Likewise, we will add here password, double curly braces for password as well, dot value, and then we will add here br. So that's it. So now you can see data provided by user is coming as username as ABC and password as 123. So we have two input field with two default data. Okay, now maybe you are thinking like, oh well, it change if I change the default value. Let's say instead of ABC, it comes with default value ABC, but I want to replace it with XYZ. So yes, you can replace it. Once you change the value, accordingly it will change the input. Okay, so we are not hard coding that value. That is just a default value. If user want to go with that default value, user can proceed. Otherwise, user can change it as per their requirement. And same goes with password as well. Instead of 1 2 3, if I want to make 4 5 6, so it will come as 4 5 6. Clear? So this is the overall process which we discussed here, just to get the default form control value. So sometime in interviews they might ask you that I want to set some default values in reactive form, so what would be the steps? So you have to answer, in case of reactive form, firstly you should add reactive forms module in component file. Then you should import form control, and in form control, while defining the variable, make sure to provide the default value inside a quote as a parameter to the form control, because form control is taking care of all input values and validation. And once it is the variable is created, then you can simply bind it with the variable or the input field where you want to make use of it. Clear? So I think this process is clear, like how to create a simple reactive form with default value in the form control. In the next session, we will discuss few more such things related to form control. And just to make the process easier for you, we are covering one topic at a time in the session, so that you will get enough time to practice it and to verify the concept that we are learning here. In case if you found any questions or queries related to this, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to answer all your questions and to implement the changes you want to implement. Clear? So yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.